Wentz Financial Group presents Zips Basketball Weekly with John Groce. Contributing sponsors include Akron Children's Hospital, Bryant Heating and Cooling, and the Spaghetti Warehouse. Now here's your host, Joe Dunn.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Zips Basketball Weekly with head coach John Groce. It's been brought to you all season long by the Wentz Financial Group. Well, two tough losses this week for the Zips, Ohio and Bowling Green, but two more games this week, including a Friday night home game with Miami. That'll be the final regular season game as the Zips then head up to Cleveland for the Mid-American Conference Tournament. And Coach, we always talk to you, of course, after every game on the radio side. Any similarities this week to what happened at Ohio and Bowling Green, or just two separate games?
No, great question, Joe. Two completely different games.
Yeah.
I thought one, we weren't, as engaged as we needed to be. I thought the second one against Bowling Green, especially after watching the film, was a super high-level game. We knew they were playing well coming into the game. Yeah. They had won 3 in a row,
right.
And believe it or not, after their victory over us Friday, they're now 10-2 on the road.
Yes, they are.
So give those guys a lot of credit because they had went through a 6-game losing streak in the middle of the year, and here they are predicted to win the league in the preseason, win the MAC tournament in the preseason. They go through that 6-game losing streak and have found the way to rally. And as we know, sometimes this time of year, especially February and March, it's as much mental as anything. And I thought they played really, really well. We did a lot of good things throughout the game. Yeah. They made a lot of tough twos, I thought, which is what our defense forces. So give them credit. I did mention after the game our teamism. I thought when we got hit in the mouth, we didn't respond the way we needed to. And we've got to use that as a learning opportunity to make us a little bit stronger here down the stretch.
Of course, the good thing, Coach, we still have 2 games left before we head up to Cleveland. Time to straighten things out, get mentally ready to go before we head up to Cleveland. 2
great challenges and 2 great games. Obviously, Buffalo, believe it or not, we've yet to play them, even though they were supposed to be our first league game. I think that tells you really how this season has went with the COVID environment that we've been in. So we're looking forward to that challenge. They're very well coached. They're the only team in our league ranked in the top 100, both defensively and offensively. So it'll be a super challenge. They're very athletic, and they play really well at home. And then we play a really good offensive Miami team where, in Oxford, we outscored them. We did. We played great offensively. It was an offensive battle, and we'll need to do that again and hopefully be able to slow them down a little bit with our defense.
Right now, we're going to head down to Athens, Ohio, the campus of Ohio University. That was a Tuesday afternoon game, and Coach, those Tuesday afternoons after those long bus trips, those are tough sometimes, aren't they?
Yeah, but we don't have any excuses. I mean, we've also played very well. If I recall, the first time we played them here at home, it was a 2 o'clock game, and we played lights out at both ends of the floor, made shots, and played great. And the other day, I just didn't feel like early on we missed shots, and I felt like that allowed us, unfortunately, to be a little bit of a front runner defensively. And that's something we have got to get cleaned up. We can't allow missed shots, Joe, to affect whether we defend, how well we rebound, how locked in that we are. And I didn't think our engagement was as good as it needed to be, as I mentioned earlier in the game at Ohio.
Now, you called an early timeout. We saw the score was 14-6. You called a timeout. Not happy with the way things were going early.
Yeah, we missed shots. And again, I thought we allowed that to affect our defense. And then give Ohio credit. As you come off these pauses, you're going to go one of 2 ways. It affects your timing and cardio to an extent, yes. How much so? It's different for each team based on how much they've been able to work out their guys, what their situation is in terms of the comeback from that time that they were out. And then there's also that element of freshness.
Yeah.
And we experienced that a little bit when we came back from our 28-day quarantine inside the 35-day window earlier in the year. And so, I thought they looked really fresh, played with a lot of energy, and some guys got some opportunities that they wouldn't have had otherwise because they had a couple guys out, and those kids played really well also and made the most of their opportunity. Give Ohio credit. They were terrific.
Early in the first half, we didn't see it. It was a 3-pointer by Michael Dawson to cut that Bobcat lead to 1. I think it was 31-30. It seems like emotionally that's where the game turned a little bit.
It did a little bit. Obviously we kept fighting back, which we've done all year. We've been down at halftime, I think 6 straight games, and we've won a lot of those. So our guys have shown that they have some resiliency and some poise, and a lot of those games have been on the road. you know, in this one in particular, as we're watching the highlights, it just got away from us a little bit, especially midway through the second half. And then we kept playing and tried to press and trap, and guys kept fighting and scratching, clawing, which is what we do. But they just got too much of a gap there with the score, and we weren't able to overcome that.
Of course, watching your team all year, Coach, I've kept waiting for that big run that you normally have during the game, but it never came.
No, it didn't, and our shot making wasn't as elite as it had been. You know, obviously we're at 113 points per possession on offense, which is, you know, among the best, right up there near the top, us and Toledo in the entire league offensively, and we just didn't have that elite shot making that day to overcome the fact that our defense wasn't able to be as engaged detail-wise as we needed to be and get enough stops, you know, to overcome the shot making.
Yeah. Put a new group in late in the game, Coach, and they showed a lot of energy, little four-court traps. They played hard, I thought.
They did. They battled at the end, and that's what they're supposed to do. You know, when you're building something, and I've said this to them on numerous occasions, we shouldn't have to applaud, hey, we played hard.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, we should always compete and play hard. And I thought that group at the end, Joe, they did. They really competed and got after it there at the end of the game.
Zips lose at 90-73. We're going to take a break as promised. We're going to come back and talk to Max Elder right after this on our big-time show with head coach John Groce.
The difference with Wentz Financial Group is that we do not have a cookie-cutter answer to any of our clients' needs. Every day is completely different in the market, and every client situation is unique. We value the opportunity and responsibility to manage the hopes and dreams of our 3,000 customers nationwide.
Come see the difference Wentz Financial Group can make for your financial future. Wentz Financial Group. Investment management for your lifetime.
This is my back before surgery, and then this was it after. These things are in my back right now, helping keep it straight so I get to go back to dance with my friends.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you, Chloe. From my perspective, there is nothing that I wouldn't let you do. Really, all the credit for how well you're doing is just you and how hard you've worked to get back to where you are. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to Zips Basketball Weekly. Special guest today. I'll tell you what, Max Elder, a guy I've gotten to know over the year as assistant athletic trainer. Of course, our special feature each week is brought to you by the Spaghetti Warehouse. And Coach, as I mentioned, boy, he has become a key part of the program.
There's no question about it. When I talk about it taking a village, I think, you know, people obviously get the blessing of being able to see our team play on game night or listen to you guys on the radio, or watching ESPN3, ESPN Network, CBS Sports Network broadcast of our games, and that's awesome, but there's so much work done behind the scenes, and obviously Max is a huge part of what we do, and I love from the time we talked to him before he came here a couple years ago, you know, number one, you know, I sensed his passion for student athletes development, and obviously his love for competition, having been a former student athlete.
Right.
So I'm going to turn it over here. We try not to hold it against Max that he's from Michigan, okay, and we obviously are all from Ohio. But aside from that, Max, tell us a little bit about yourself. Maybe give us a little bit of a feel for your background prior to coming to Akron.
Sure, Coach. Originally from West Bloomfield, Michigan. I was a football player growing up mainly. Played at Hope College during college, and then I went to grad school at Michigan State. I was originally, like I said, a football player and worked football kind of as a young professional, and now transitioned to basketball a little bit here with the Zips. Certainly been a little bit of a different experience for me. Played basketball in high school, but working on the other end of it now, a little bit different. Obviously enjoyed some success with the team last year, and always easier when you're winning, Coach. So I've enjoyed that last year, and looking forward to continuing that this year. Yeah,
we've obviously got finished this season here with about a week left in the regular season, and then conference tournament play starts. And this season's been, as we know, Max, about as unique as any year that I've certainly been a part of. Obviously, you got thrown right into it. Maybe tell the listeners out there just how unique it's always challenging, right? We got competition, preparation for games, trying to keep the student athletes healthy and safe is always at the forefront of our minds, developing them. But add on the challenge of the COVID environment.
Sure, Coach.
And kind of what that's done in your world as it applies to our team and our program. Maybe if you'd share that, I think people would find that fascinating.
You know, Coach, we're just coming up on 1 year since things kind of fell apart last year. I was reminiscing with one of my colleagues at Ohio, actually on Tuesday. He and I were standing on the court at Rocket Mortgage, warming up, as you remember, and all of a sudden the world kind of came crumbling down for us. So it's been quite a year. Certainly a lot of changes, both for us as staff and for the student athletes as well. We've been asked to adapt and change all year long and kind of on the fly sometimes, as you well know. So appreciate the flexibility of the athletes and of the staff and everybody at the University of Akron that's assisted us in doing that. Coach, you've probably noticed that whenever I talk about it, I always say we because it's a team.
Sure.
Sports medicine team is essential, and you know the athletic trainer is kind of a jack of all trades, master of none type of guy or girl, and really relies upon having good people to refer to and outside sources and colleagues, and especially this year, as you've noticed, there's been other people covering practices different days. You never know. You've always got to be prepared for the potential that things are going to change up a little bit. So. Like you mentioned, you know, sometimes almost daily testing for the student athletes, potential for self-quarantine, self-isolation, depending on the outcome of those tests. It just depends, and really we've been asked to be flexible and ready to go for whatever the day may bring.
I think the most fascinating thing to me, Max, is how much it has even changed since we came back on July 30th.
It has.
And that's where I really applaud you guys, because it's not like it's a rote deal. Like, it's changed so much from July 30th till now. How do you guys, the health team, obviously you specifically, stay up to speed with all the changes and all the protocol?
Sure. Whenever we talk to recruits, Coach, we always tell them we want to provide the best possible care that we can. And oftentimes we'll tell them you will never get better health care again than you will during your experience as a student athlete in college. And part of that is adapting, like you said, and looking at the best research available, talking to our experts, Dr. Schaub, our cardiologist who's led the COVID task force for the University of Akron athletics, as well as our primary care physicians and those experts we have in the area. We've worked hand in hand with Summit County Public Health all year, Coach, and just tried to take the best possible information each week, and sometimes each day. As you know, that changes almost on a daily basis sometimes, and each school has had different interpretations of that this year. So we're doing our best to select the best information, make our best decisions possible, and in the end, like I said, we're doing what's best for the student athlete at the end of the day.
There's no question about that. I think one of the things I've been convinced, and really it's been neat, is I've gotten to know Bill Drotti, who's the director of sports medicine, and Max, as we meet on all this stuff and try to digest it, the student athlete's health and safety, and then trying to do the right thing. You know, no one's perfect, but every day we're trying to do the right thing, and I really believe Max and his team has done that. So it's been an interesting year, but we're looking forward to closing this thing strong, Joe, and obviously Max and his team's a big part of it.
He certainly is. And Max, thanks for coming over and being with us today. Great job. Keep up the good work. We're going to take a break, come back and look at highlights of the Bowling Green game right after this.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes H-Jacks Plumbing and Heating. Find them at hjacks.com.
The difference with Wentz Financial Group is that we do not have a cookie-cutter answer to any of our clients' needs. Every day is completely different in the market, and every client situation is unique. We value the opportunity and responsibility to manage the hopes and dreams of our 3,000 customers nationwide.
Come see the difference Wentz Financial Group can make for your financial future. Wentz Financial Group. Investment management for your lifetime.
Okay, welcome back to Zips Basketball Weekly with head coach John Groce. Right now, let's go back to Jar Arena on Friday night. Bowling Green comes to town, and coach, as you mentioned, they are one of the hottest teams in the league. Best road record in the league, and they're playing well right now.
They're really playing well. They look like that team that everyone kind of thought they would be prior to the season starting. And, you know, obviously I think the biggest difference, Joe, is they've got some shot making happening right now with Diggs and Matheny. They've always had big-time play from Plowden and Turner. And Turner's a terrific talent, and made some really difficult shots, in particular in the second half, that were highly contested. But the first half was a real battle. I thought it was, in watching it on film afterwards, I thought, man, it was a really well-played first half by both teams, 38-37 at halftime. And then in that stretch where it got away from us at about the 8-minute mark in the second half, we had unfortunately, some key turnovers that led to some easier baskets for them. They got a little bit of distance, got it to about 4 possessions, and then we were scrambling from there to try to win it. Kids fought, obviously showed some resiliency, but we've got to be a little bit more connected when things don't go our way. And that's life too, right? We were talking about it on the way over as we were walking over to do the show, and we've got to be able to do that. So learning opportunity for us for sure, and part of our journey as a team for this particular year, and we'll use it as such.
You had a 4-point lead, Coach, in that first half, 21-17. Then the Falcons going a little bit of a run. The one thing I wanted to point out watching the game, you're giving Lauren Christian Jackson a few minutes off each half, bringing Garvin Clark in just to give him a little time to recuperate, because he plays hard the entire game.
Yeah, utilizing that media timeout to get him more of a blow than actually what the game clock would indicate. But you also got to have someone who has the right frame of mind, like Garvin, who comes in that knows, hey, I may play 2 minutes, 1 minute, it may be quick in and out, and be able to handle that. And he has gotten better at that throughout the year, especially as a freshman. But here you see the pick and roll game, which was rolling early. Enrique Freeman set some great screens, him and Cam up top to free Jackson. We got some good looks there early off the pick and roll. Even to start the second half, we were getting great looks off of it. There you see a great screen by Cam again, and Christian makes them pay for going under. Great wall and vertical by Cam. We did some good things. But they're playing really, really well. And so you've got to, figure out, okay, what are the things that we can control that allow us to play even better? And that's how we always look at it. We try to learn from every single circumstance, win, lose, whatever game we play. How do we get better? And that'll be certainly our emphasis here heading into the last week of the regular season.
As you mentioned, Coach, it was kind of a back-and-forth game in the second half. Zips down by 3 to 6 points, very much in the game, chance to win. And then probably in the final, 5 minutes, Falcons going a little bit of a run and separate.
Yeah, that's when it got to about a 4-possession game, and we were scrambling a little bit, tried to apply some full-court pressure late. But we had our chances, we did, and we didn't make shots at the level that we would normally. And I thought we allowed that to affect us more than it should have.
I'll tell you, you did get some good looks, Coach. I remember Ryan Trimble had a great look from the corner. That's usually a shot that's going to go down for him. Ali missed a couple of easy ones, so just not shooting the ball like we normally do.
Yeah, Ali's were in the paint, obviously, and I thought that was the difference in the game. You look at everything on the stat sheet, it was about equal, Joe, except for 2-point production. They were 24 out of 44 on twos at 55-ish%. And we were 14 out of 35.
Yeah.
And, we missed a layup. We had some finishes around the rim where we could have been a little bit tougher, and we weren't. And that ultimately ended up being the difference in the game, was the 2-point production and efficiency.
You're exactly right. Lauren Christian Jackson leads the Zips in scoring with 29. We're going to take a break, come back with our weekly player awards right after this.
Even if this is the three-point line, and this is the hoop, if this is home ice, and this is sticking the landing, kids will find a way to keep playing the sports they love, and we'll keep helping them. After an injury, Akron Children's is dedicated to getting your child back to the game as quickly and safely as possible, however they play it. Learn more at akronchildrens.org/sports.
I'm here. This isn't a stop on my way somewhere else. This is my way up. This city, this university, Akron is where I learn to outwork and outsmart. To aim high, then raise the bar. Because Zips never settle for less. No entitlement, no excuses, just my education. My future. I'm on the rise, and we are Akron.
Now it's time for our weekly player awards, one of my favorite times of the show each week, Coach. And whose stock is rising? Young guy that's playing well for your basketball team. This week it's 6'2" sophomore guard Greg Tribble from Cincinnati and Huntington Prep. Continues to be one of the best on-the-ball defenders on the Zip squad. And, Coach, you always give him that tough assignment, guarding that best player for the opponent's team.
Yeah, no, he and Ali have been our two best defenders when you go back to preseason practice and then take us through, 20-plus games.
Right.
And he had so much value on that end of the floor. What's different about Greg defensively this year relative to last year, he's always been a great athlete, physically strong, and could guard the ball. Biggest difference is he's really smart, and in a year's time, he's picked up our system, and so he plays our defense equally well off the ball.
Right.
And that's what makes him a really, really good defender. And then he's made a few offensive plays here for us recently, too, driving the ball and finishing. And Greg's got some upside. He really works at it, spends a lot of extra time on his game, and he's got a chance to be certainly even better than he's played thus far in his career, and we're looking forward to continuing to develop him.
Exactly. He's a slasher. He can take it hard to the basket. Saw last year one time he was on the baseline, went up and dunked it. Very, very athletic.
Super athletic, freakishly athletic. Has that high-level athleticism, which allows him to be a good on-ball defender and be a great finisher above the rim.
Of course, he got to start against Bowling Green, had 4 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. And, Coach, he's going to be key now. If we're going to win the championship, he's going to have to play well for you.
Well, the biggest thing, obviously, stat line, he produced, like you just said, but he guarded Turner. And that's a heck of a challenge.
Yes, it is.
Justin Turner is one of the best offensive players in our league, and I think in the country. So Greg did a good job, made him earn them. He ended up with 19, and he made a lot of tough twos, and we tried to keep him off the foul line, and Greg was a big part of that and did a good job of defending him. Gave us quality minutes there.
Exactly. Our player of the week goes to Lauren Christian Jackson. Had another very good week, averaged a little over 25 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, 1 steal for the week, and teams continue. Coach, the game plan for him, he continues to work hard, and you're giving him a little bit more rest right now because I know you want him at absolute best in the tournament.
Well, obviously those media timeouts is where we're getting him the rest, and obviously he's the head of the snake for us at both ends. Offensively, the other night they were playing the pick and roll in such a way that he was able to come off there with the great screening, in particular of Freeman and Reese, and shoot naked shots like you see here on these 2 or 3. And for him, I told him at one point, I said, if they give you 20 of those, take 20 of them, because that's a great shot for our team, great shot for him. Coming off of the screen, a naked screen into a pull-up 3 is something that he does. I don't want to say it's like a layup, but pretty close.
Yeah.
So he made good reads the other night in the pick and roll, and obviously he's been really productive, not only scoring it, but making guys better. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's top 10 in the country in scoring, yes, but he's also top 10 in the country in assist, and he's the only player in the country that's doing that.
Exactly.
So obviously a big part of what we do. As I say, a lot of times when we talk about Christian, it's also for him, and people don't get to see it like I do on a daily basis, how great a teammate he is, how much he cares about winning, and the fact that he cares about people other than himself. So those are great qualities to have in addition to the abilities, the physical abilities that Christian possesses.
Sure. Final question before we get a little report on Miami, the game coming up Friday night. A lot of times, Coach, you'll put him on the wing. Take the pressure off him, bring the ball up court, maybe to get a better look? Is that one of the reasons?
Well, sometimes we put him off the ball and we'll bring action back to him. Sometimes we'll use him as a screener because teams are so locked in to him and don't help off of him a whole lot. So whatever it takes for us to get the best shot possible for our team on that possession.
Exactly.
That's really the emphasis.
Coach, final regular season game Friday night against Miami. Super quick team. We saw their guards down in Oxford, and they can really play well.
They can score it. I mean, offensively, they've been great all year. Their numbers show that. They've got multiple double-figure scores. They can hit you from 3. They drive it. They post it with Beck, occasionally with Brown. And it'll be a great challenge for us on Friday. And they'll be fired up to play.
Sure.
We're competitive. They're competitive. I always tell the guys teams don't like to lose to other teams twice. They don't like that.
Yeah.
That should bother you. And certainly we've got to be ready to match that and then some. It'll be a night where we get to recognize the seniors.
That's right.
And so I'm looking forward to that as well because those guys have done a lot and sacrificed a lot, especially in this COVID year. But throughout their careers represented the university really well.
Exactly. Coach, hopefully we'll talk about a couple wins next week. Once again, our thanks to Max Elder for joining us. For head coach John Groce, I'm Joe Dunn. And always remember, go Zips.
Wentz Financial Group presents Zips Basketball Weekly with John Groce. Contributing sponsors include Akron Children's Hospital, Bryant Heating and Cooling, and the Spaghetti Warehouse.